Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back with open-minded conversation with a close and friend. Listen, we should be very open-minded anyway. And today we have Auntie Sharon. Gang. And here, Auntie Riddle. Gang. And then the gangster.
The gangster.
So today, topic we're talking, as usual, everything we say here is sensitive. We have to be sensitive towards other people because some people, that's the reality, and then they find it very sensitive. So, today's topic is about toxic parenting. Either mom, dad, auntie, anybody.
For ourselves.
Even ourselves, our children could see us as we've been toxic, because at the end of the day, toxic is toxic. And who's gonna kick off? Are you gonna start with?
Yeah.
What?
Because you know that the definition.
Yeah. What's the
definition of
of
toxic?
toxic? Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you.
Let's
A toxic person.
Yeah.
Someone who brings conflict and negativity to your life is toxic.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, I think the worst thing about this, why this is very sensitive, is that no parent should bring negativity into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Every parent you're hoping is going to be bringing goodness and bringing the best out of you and preparing you for a better life. So if they're going to be bringing negativity and conflict, that's the last thing you want from a parent. And I think that's why it's so difficult to label your parent as toxic. And you find that if you are in a situation like that, you are more tolerant because you make more excuses for them. Because there's no way you can fathom your mother or your father being toxic. There's no, once it's a parent, you don't even imagine them being toxic. So whatever mistake they do, whatever they do wrong, you will never label it immediately to say, oh, that's just toxic behavior. You start making excuses to say, oh, maybe I misunderstood or whatever. But after a while, you do find there are toxic parents out there. There are parents who, in time, you find that where you're supposed to be guided, they're not doing that. Where you're supposed to be benefiting from them, you're not doing that. But then now my question is, will they be toxic? Will they know they're toxic? Or are they doing the best that they can, but that best just happens to be toxic for you?
Okay, it's a hard one, like I say, it's very hard, But like you said, most African parents are toxic. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Including us. We are learning. So we try to kind of like adapt to the Western world. How not to be too toxic to our children. However, they will still find us toxic in some way, somehow. So there's no right or wrong way to raise a child. We're doing the best we can do. However, said it, some parents are taking it to the next level. Like example, you grow up raising your children, you didn't have money, you struggle, your children didn't have everything as a child, and then now they become adult, so they're working for them to stand on their feet for their children, but then you the mother or you the father then coming into their family home taking. You are not giving, but you are taking. When you see them raising up a baby, you say, oh, my child is doing well, so therefore you jump in and you bring them down. How are they going to rise up? So for me personally, I find it toxic. Either financially toxic, emotionally toxic, and they don't support.
Because I always think, do you know what? If you are a good mom, if your child had a bag of chips, and they don't offer you, that's the child's choice. They could have just, if your child is raised to be one, I always think that it's easy to do a good thing to somebody who you know is a good person. So if I've got a bag of chips, it's easy for me to, do you want some? Do you want some? Do you understand? But if your own child does not do that, does not even think that even if they've got an extra piece of cake, they won't even think, let me give mom. It could mean that child might feel a certain type of way about you. Maybe they might never have heard it. Because I always think to myself, if I'm sitting next to you, I'm a good mom, I'm a good parent, you think I'm a good mom, why wouldn't you go, mom, do you want a piece of cake?
But is it about that though? I think we're now sort of like dipping and diving out of different topics. Are we talking about toxicity? In what forms of toxicity are we talking about?
If I'm a child and I feel that you're a toxic parent, right? It hinders what I do for you. because I feel you're a toxic parent.
Is that the topic? Is that what we're talking about?
Toxic parents, isn't it? So, my point, I think, maybe is leading to the fact that, so as a parent, if you find that your children are displaying signs of withdrawing from you, then they're probably evaluating the sense that, well, there's some kind of negativity from you, which we need to keep ourselves.
The example you've given about, say,
the bag of chips.
The bag of chips. Is that not a personality trait of a child?
That's
and
not the parents.
The parenting that you have given to the child. Is that not the child's personality?
That I think.
Well, they're just stingy.
They're selfish.
They've never been taught to share.
Even you taught to share. Like example, I have 4 children, and they know I'm a giver. Yeah, they know I'm easily hard to take from people, and they know when they do to, even if they're eating, I try to encourage them to eat from the same bowl. To teach them how to learn, because there are 4 of you. So it's nothing to do with me. But then at the same time, you can see one of them can go and then make something, sit down and eat it without sharing with the other sibling. But that's not how I taught you. That's not how I teach you. That's not how we do it in this house.
It's not a reflection of your parenting.
Yes, it's just the child's.
That's their personality.
That's their personality. So that is not
nothing
toxic.
to do
That
with
is
you.
nothing to do with you.
And what with the toxicity?
Yeah.
I feel if I think that you are a toxic person, I'm not going to be nice to you. I find it harder to be nice to you. I find it harder to share my.
That's your personality.
That's your personality.
That's
so
your
what
personality.
you would find somebody toxic and you would still go and share with them.
Yes. Because I'm a nice person.
Yeah. Even
You
my
being
enemy.
toxic,
Like the person we spoke about, a certain person that you slightly went into. Even after that conversation we had, right? I still found it in me to say they needed something. They needed someone to talk to.
Yeah, right.
And I talked to them.
Yeah.
I helped them.
Yeah.
Ended that conversation feeling like done a good day for the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
but I think it's not. It shouldn't. Someone's toxicity shouldn't alter your personality. Shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't You shouldn't be affected by it.
Especially even if it's a parent.
Even if it's a parent, even if it's a partner.
More so if it's a parent, because the thing you can't do is you can't change parents. You can't change children. You've had them. You can't change them. You can't swap them and go and say, can I get my money back?
But I don't think that I would want to change them. But
but don't alter your personality.
But then if their negativity is bringing me down, if it's negativity, what happens is I distance myself.
You can distance yourself, but that doesn't mean you can't give them something if they need it.
Yeah.
No, you are saying if they need it. But my point was just sharing, just caring.
You still show them. The thing is, you kill them with kindness. You keep sharing with them. But especially if it's a child, you are now becoming a toxic parent by doing that, by distancing yourself
from your child.
Because they don't share.
No, but what I'm saying is that I think that if my child wasn't sharing with me, right, to me, it doesn't show that I'm a toxic person, that they're a toxic child. But to me, it would be like, well, why are you not sharing with me? Are you not happy with me or something? Have I said something? Because if I've taught you not... Or how can you sit there and eat whilst I'm watching?
That's the person.
Stop. It's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
Look, how can you... If it's your child, right? You simply point it out to them. Listen, I'm in the car as well. You need to share. Because they're children, right? It's things that you just don't say once. You can show them. You need to remind them. Look, share with everybody.
And I do that constantly.
And they will be upset to begin with, but they will remember that my mother always told me to share.
Like example, like my little one. With customers, when they come, I always say them, come and say hello to me and my customer. Sometimes they can come in without even come and see me, and I'll be filming. I was like, that's not how I taught you. That's not how I teach you. Every day I say, when you come and check. If I'm not breathing? So it's nothing to do with me. It's their choice they make.
Even my big child, I'm always saying to her, you need to come and check in if I'm in there. Yeah. Just because there's no one in the house, open the doors and see if, I could be lying on the floor. But you have to continue.
This is what I'm saying is that, especially if you live just the two of you, right? If your child is not coming to say, okay, maybe not even high, or just coming to check in if they. I mean,
if you're okay.
Yeah,
that's not the mother's fault.
It's not the mother's fault. But what I'm saying is that maybe that child, there is something in them where they're thinking, you know,
children, especially children in this country.
Boundaries.
Especially children in this country, they're selfish. Let's put it that way. They are the most selfish people in this world. And I'm telling you, and Trudeau, you know me, I'm telling you the truth and the fact.
That point I'm telling you, I have been saying it and saying it and saying it. Now, even if I'm asleep, it's bye, mom. And she will wait until I respond before she goes.
Even like this one sitting down here, the producer, sometimes he can come in there, see people sitting there, he just look at their face and like,
but at least she's come to check.
Yeah, but then say hello. I'm not just one person. You can't just see people and not say hello to them. And it's not your mother did not teach you. It's not like your father did not teach you. It's not like your auntie did not teach you.
You know better.
You should know. So that one is out of toxic parenting. It's just a child's choice. They choose to do that. So I don't think it's the parents.
Because children can be children, and they will push boundaries.
Yes,
they want to see how far you take things. But if you then sit there and think, that's a funky attitude they're displaying, and not call them out on it.
Yeah. I personally think toxic parenting is, and a lot of people are doing that, even in this country, is like number one, like I talk about the financial issue. Your life wouldn't go well. Your child is doing well, and you want to bring them down. Your child is happy. You constantly have to find something negative to bring them happiness down. So personally, that's what I call toxic. Because why is it that you can't be happy for your child? Why is it that your child is progressing? And then you feel like you and your something to you. It's like you and your child are in competition. You see some mother and daughter are clash over a man, over money. Oh, my daughter think, I'm beautiful than her, or she's beautiful than me, or I'm fit. So that is toxic.
It's a selfish kind of love, isn't it?
Right.
Where you look at your child, it's that love where you are like, well, if like for example, if Sharon gets married, then I'm not going to be left lonely.
How is this Sharon's fault?
No, it's not her fault, but you find that it's that trying to hold on to you, Sharon, my daughter.
Yeah.
That selfishness for me. So I'd rather not have you married.
That's toxic.
The same way as Sharon, I'd rather have you poor so that every now and again you're calling me for a favor.
That's toxic.
Yeah, that's toxic.
That's toxic. That is toxic.
But then I always say that. So this is what I was saying: is that do you think that the parents see that they're toxic or know that they're toxic?
I think there is a level of awareness. Like they're aware of what they're doing, but there's that African pride that is, I'm never going to admit this to my child.
No, they don't have to admit it, but do you think deep down they know?
Probably. I don't know, probably.
Because I always think to myself is that if you have a child and you see them doing well, whether you are going to get anything out of it, but your heart is already just bursting.
Surely you've done your bit
to raise them to get that point.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. So I always say that there's that, but then I don't know. I think this is very complicated because I always think to myself that there's no way you can be a toxic parent and not want your child to do better. You must justify it in your head somehow to say, well, okay, no, Sharon, I don't want you to get married because if you get married, I'm going to be lonely.
Can I ask you the reverse of that thing? Like, for example, me, I'm saying this because I feel this all the time. I feel like my daughter is at an age where she should be living on her own and paying bills and seeing how life is. Yeah. Right. Is that wrong for me? I know my child will live with me until she's 40.
But then, that is not toxic. Then,
is it toxic for me to think,
no, but you want
to... Like even university, I wanted her to go as far
away as possible.
Yeah. So that she could learn literally like, I need to...
But she also might have a fear in her of saying that I can't do it because my mom never did it. Do you know what I mean?
Because my mom never did.
Oh yeah, because if the example she's looking at, like that's what I keep saying is that sometimes that's why I keep thinking that if you're not going to share your chips with me, it's because you're thinking something about me. That's where it all comes from me. Okay, so I'm thinking that if my child is not going to go to a university far away, they could be thinking, oh my God, no, my mom needs me more. So let me stay at home, and that child is now worrying about their mom.
Toxic?
No,
that's not toxic. It means it's not toxic. It could be that you haven't shown that child that you can stand on your own.
No.
So the child feels they want to pick you up.
Let me say something. That might not be true, because again, like I have 4 children. Like you said, this thing is from experience, isn't it? I have 4 children, and at this age, they're not anywhere near uni yet.
Yeah.
But I know which of my child cannot wait to run from this house. Yeah, they cannot even wait to run from this house because they run for their life. Yeah,
You'd have to post their suitcases.
Right. And then I know which of the child will want to stay. Even at this point, yeah, we haven't even reached secondary school. We haven't reached college yet. We are thinking, oh, ma'am, am I allowed to go to university in Brighton? And I say, yeah. Why? Well, I'm just asking if I'm allowed. So that's a few of them don't want to leave me. It's got nothing to do with me because I didn't do it. I did it. I'm an independent person. I didn't stay with my parents. So I think it's all depend on the child. So it's a child's fear.
So some children are not confident enough to leave the house and go and start on their own. But then in the same breath, there's some children who are feeling that if I leave you, you are going to be unhappy.
And that's how is it the mother's problem? It's your problem.
No,
look for your happiness.
That's your problem.
That's your problem, though.
No, but I think that there are some children who see you going through so much that they are now taking that pain or whatever you're going through and taking it.
Okay, let me say this here. So if you know, again, it's me, my personality. If you know your mother is going through something, it's not good for you. It's not good for her. It's affecting her and you. Why do you want to do that for your children? Why can't you say, let me break this circle of this thing. Let me get myself out. Mom have to stand on her feet.
I can help her from
but then far away. This is what I'm saying is that, look, if your child at this point is going, well, I can't go to university far away because then I'm going to leave mommy or daddy, and daddy at the moment is very vulnerable. They are now taking this on them. But also at the back of their head, they're thinking, you know what, my mom and my dad are just so crazy. They're so lazy. Or my mom, especially if it's like mom only, it'll be like, my mom is just so lazy. Now look, we've got this problem. And so there's that anger, which I think that much as that it would have been, they would have labeled it that my mom is toxic because they're thinking that you were not strong enough to do this. And so because of that, they think you are toxic, but you would have tried your best, but it wasn't good enough for them. Or I'll give an example of a child who is brought up in a family where the dad beats the mom up, right? You find that child can either emulate the father and think, you know what, this is how to treat women, is to beat them up. Or they'll be very angry with women to think, you're very stupid. Why did you let him ruin your life like that? And then in the end, ruined our life. So you find that situation, a child can look at it from either way. So when you are not being strong, your child can either feel like, oh my goodness, I now need to be strong, doubly for me and mom. But then them stop being a child because they're trying to pick both of you up.
I think that is a choice. Because we all growing up, seeing our parents, dad beating mom, insulting mom, and this. That doesn't mean I should look for a man who beats me.
No, nobody looks for a man who beats them. No, but that's what I'm saying. No, it means that you'll be more tolerant to a man beating you because you would have seen your mom being beaten.
No, because I see my mom beating and I didn't like it. So I said, I'm not looking for a man who's going to beat me. Because even if I see a sign, I said, no, I don't want to be like my mama. You know, I got to pull myself out of it. That, again, is a personal choice.
No, but also, if your mom, was married or was with a partner that beat them up, and then your mother had children, girl children, and then those children went on to or grew up watching it, and then went on to have relationships with people who were violent to them. That's because I said this, I think the last time is when your child has a relationship with their father that is fractured. They will attract, like when they're out there in public, they see certain traits in people, not exactly physically.
They won't go looking for it, but they're attracted to
traits that they are familiar to, and then they attract people who eventually then probably physically abuse them. You understand what I'm saying?
Become toxic.
So either your mother needs to show you that person is wrong, and either, I don't know,
a discussion needs to be had. I always think
something
you need to
needs
talk.
to be done.
Yeah,
Like
because when you leave everyone to assume, everyone is going to assume the fact that you are thinking it was an abusive relationship. Some people are thinking, no, you're weak, and they'll grow up hating you.
And this is another thing with African parents, especially. They see these things happen to them through no fault of their own, right? But they always forget the children. They always think they were too young. They couldn't have, they couldn't have felt the impact of. I mean, after all, it was me who was being beaten up, and I'm thinking, hang on. This bond that you have with your child, that you carry for 9 months, you underestimate it. Because everything, I remember when your youngest was born, you were angry during your pregnancy. You were so tense. You cried more than you've ever cried in your whole life during that pregnancy. You cried so much in that pregnancy. And it permeated into your child. When she was born, she was a very quiet child. I don't remember that child crying. I don't remember as a baby. I can't.
Up to now, she's very quiet.
But she wasn't a very quiet child. She was a talkative girl.
Once she found her voice,
she was very talkative. And then my son then got injured, and then she became a hospital baby.
Yeah,
and that traumatized her. Then she went right.
But the pregnancy also,
But then the thing with the pregnancy is that the pregnancy, I think I was angry. But I wasn't angry at a particular person. I was angry at the situation. Anything would piss me off, like you asked me to come to your house to eat, and I come into your house and I can't smell the food from the gate.
Why did you call me?
Why? What was the point of you calling me? I would be very upset and I wouldn't even eat.
My daughter would walk into the room and she'd be just like, why is she here?
But I loved her.
Yeah.
The thing is that if I didn't see her, I couldn't go without her. But if I saw her, I wanted to hate her.
So that's a pregnancy.
That's pregnancy thing.
But the thing is that, what I think is that when it becomes toxic, like for me, I've always thought that, like
I wasn't saying that you were toxic.
No.
Saying,
that it goes, it becomes a child.
Yeah.
But then I was saying that the problem sometimes I think is that when parents, I think, are toxic, most of the time it's stemming way further than you, the child.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes when the relationship that the parents had between the two of them, if one was feeling some kind of way about the other, you then are born and you look like the other that they hate.
Jesus.
It means you're a constant reminder of what they're trying to forget. Like with every breakup, you're always hoping that I can't wait for the time I forget you. I don't have to think about you. But then every day, because as a child, every day I have to look at that child and you look exactly the same, and I remind you of you.
That child
and
it brings these angers, which makes them toxic. So that's something that maybe sometimes
they don't know.
They can be toxic without even realizing it. But because they've got this deep-rooted anger for your father, it just seems to it triggers them.
Even saying that the fathers, what about the fathers that get abused by the wives? It's not every mother get abused. Some fathers get abused too. And then again, this one goes to toxic about African men.
Were we talking toxic mothers or
toxic parents? So it could be either way that your father or your mother, and then you're raising one.
Toxic parent. This one, and again, it starts with African men. When an African man give birth you and African man had a baby and you broke up and then you don't have romantic connection, they walk away from the child's life.
Yeah.
So and then when the mother tried to find a relationship and then they found okay, and then they come back and then when they broke up they go. That is that child or those children in that situation are so confused. Thinking, is that my fault? Why is it that dad always come in today and then dad go out? And then the mother then get confused.
Part-time fathering again. We come back to the part-time fathering.
I will tell you something as well. In my situation, because I can only speak about my situation. My situation was exactly how you described it. We were in a relationship. I fell pregnant. And I remember the duration of our relationship. I knew how inconsistent this man was. I knew how unreliable he was. But I was a kid. I was 18, 17, 18. I was in love, right? And I played devil's advocate, right? And I said to him, I'm pregnant, wanting to see what his reaction would be. And he went, oh, I'm a student. I can't do this. I can't be a father. He didn't necessarily say have an abortion, but he was leading to that. And I was like, oh, hell. No. So this man doesn't want me. And even if there was a situation that was to present itself, he wouldn't, man up. Little did I know, I was 5.5 months pregnant.
Oh.
Because it's your first, it doesn't show. Yeah. So when my sister said to me, who's the father? As a typical African woman, she asked me who the father was. I was like, don't forget him. He doesn't want to be involved. And you called him. And what did he say? She's a joker. She told me she was joking. You were lying. I'm actually asleep. And he hung up. But because I knew how, I don't know, God, I'm saying this now, God intervened there because I remember during the duration of our relationship, everywhere he took me, I took the address, I wrote down every single number he called me from. If it was a payphone, I wrote it down. I had a little file of facts that had numbers. Right.
Because you knew at some point you're going to have to be hunting your man down. So you knew what you were dating.
Thank you. So then, lo and behold, the man has made me pregnant. She found a number. It so happened to be the uncle of my daughter's dad. Yeah. She called him and he said, oh, let me notify
everybody, family meeting,
and they all came,
and
that's how, and the rest is history.
And now that family cannot do that. The child is spitting image of the brothers, of the father's sisters. They stand there, you think they're twins.
Yeah.
This is the thing about life. That's the funny thing about life.
And the worst thing, not even the worst thing, the father died speaking my daughter's name.
Or the grandfather, the grandfather. Because when he said the father, it sounds like the daughter, so the grandfather.
The grandfather, he died speaking my daughter's name.
I mean, life
is
weird.
And she's the first granddaughter in that whole family.
But then the thing about men as well sometimes is that much as you might have told him and he was like, oh yeah, I might not I'm
this is
too much. But sometimes when you're going out with somebody, you can never predict what they're going to do when the actual event happens and you're pregnant.
No, listen. What I was saying, all of that to say was that him as a man, right, as the father of my child, right, he, to this day, he doesn't play a crucial part. Yeah. It's just for the name's sake.
That's just that by name.
Family,
the family
his
around
sisters,
him,
his brothers, his
are all covering.
All of them, they make up for him. And I'm saying this to say, sometimes when you get yourself involved in
toxic situation,
I'm not saying handle it like I did. I was lucky that he came from a family that he comes from. Those people are amazing people. They could have simply denied me.
Yeah, and you'd have none the wiser.
But they love my daughter like
you were married in their family.
Yes.
Yeah.
You understand? So I'm saying sometimes the toxicity you can almost lower it by, I don't know. I literally.
But can anybody ever replace the father? Even if everybody else around is
but I think if he watches and he hears like stories from his sisters saying,
it still doesn't make him come. I mean, what we're talking about is how it seems like how many African men tend to think that they can just have a child and be like, oh yes, I got 2 children there. I got 2. They walk around going, yes, I got 4 children.
Do you know
but they've never seen any of the children.
Do you know what
they've never even asked,
do you know what
their favorite color is.
Do you know what his excuse was?
What?
Because I did ask, I was like, so where do you think your daughter is? What do you think she's eating? Where do you think she's sleeping? He was like, I know she's with the mother. There's no way I'm going to worry.
They seem to have that mentality to say, well, you're the mother. There's no way you're going to let the child suffer. So I know my daughter is in good hands. But it means that these fathers don't realize that children actually want their fathers.
Okay, now another toxic. Now we are just going back, toxic and the fathers. So now when you said my father does not want the children, what did you do in this situation to make it like at least make like you, the mother in this situation, you are the free. You got to play it.
So
you got to put effort in it. You got to push it. You got to do
I
something.
pushed it. So I pushed it because at that time I had no way of contacting him. So she was 10 years old. I got her onto Facebook. He was useless as a man, but he had brothers who were very, very top tier people, well educated, and they loved her. So I made her get in touch with those, and I was hoping in that they would then teach their brother that look.
But maybe that's not in him. Maybe
as when she was young, like from when she was a baby,
he used to come.
He
used to come to birthdays, you'd babysit. I mean, he was really good.
But then you have to know the
changed. But I think that the problem happened was when
she
then had to move and go out of the country and go back to his country.
And then she was
that distance, and then by this time she's grown older, and I think it made it difficult for him to try and start. You know,
with toddlers, you can lie to them and say,
toddler.
I'll get you a He could do all that.
Yeah.
He could make up things to keep her happy.
It's difficult when they're older and they can think for themselves.
Because she can call out, she can
be like, Dad, you're lying again.
You're lying.
Yeah.
Like, she constantly asked about, why don't you have a phone? Oh, it was stolen. And then this time she went.
So that's
again.
the toxic parenting.
Yeah.
So, but then
so she's noticed the traits in him, and she doesn't want any parts of that. So she's going,
backs off.
If he contacts me, fine. I won't ignore it.
Yeah. But then, again, that's when I go to my point again where I say children, sometimes they would have observed that, you know what, you're toxic. So they step away. Hence, that's why when they have got a bag of chips, they're not going to quickly offer you. Not because it's just not because it's just the fact that they're just stingy like that.
No, but
because look, if she knows that her dad is toxic, she's now saying, look, you contact me, I will contact you.
That is different because if she's still a good person, she wouldn't.
She's still a good person.
No, that's what I'm saying. Then if she have it, she wouldn't just turn her back on the dad.
But if you think like come Father's Day, do you think that she's the first child to think, let me buy my dad a card?
That's not a bag of chips.
No,
Father's Day is different situation.
No, but what I'm saying is that. So, okay, my bag of chips may be a bad example. But what I'm saying is that this child, right?
Yeah.
If they have noticed that, look, these are your flaws, right? Do you think Father's Day should be the first one to go and buy a card?
Listen.
Would she, yes or no?
No, that kid.
Some would do, some won't.
But this child would know because they've noticed that the father is,
listen, this particular kid, right, knows your flaws. And she's never held them against you. She would have held them against you. In this situation, it's a food thing. It's like, I want this thing and I want to eat it by myself. If I'm full, I will give you.
Okay, so maybe the packet of chips is a bad example. Okay. But do you see where my point is that when you let the children see, when a child has seen that you're toxic.
That same child, remember what happened at the festival? Yes? Same child still went and bought a Father's Day card. Right? It's been posted.
Yes.
Same, isn't it? Same kid.
The same situation, yeah.
Same situation.
No, but you see what I'm saying is that you, like, I keep saying that if your parent, you're thinking, oh my God, my parent is toxic. You even say to people the things so that you believe it yourself. You're not going to act upon it immediately. You're not going to say, if your birthday was tomorrow, now I'm going to cancel because yesterday I saw that you're actually toxic. No, because it's your parent. There's a part of you that's saying, no, I'm sure that I misread the situation. I misunderstood, right? But what I'm saying is that, like in the older children, where they have had a chance to see who their fathers are, do you think that tomorrow should go and buy Father's Day card?
In my daughter's situation,
no.
Exactly. Like even fathers, they think, oh, today's Father's Day, let me call my dad.
No. See?
So for that situation is different because they're not living together. They're different continents, right? So maybe that is difficult. Maybe let's say
he doesn't have a phone to even
maybe let's say let's say we all live in the same village. There's no way Father's Day, and then me and my dad live in the same village, even though she was not in my life, and I'm not going to say, hey Dad, Happy Father's Day. But if you live in the different continents, it's a different situation. You know what I mean? And then again, like we said, these children of this country, they are selfish. So maybe they might not do it because of the toxicity. Maybe because of their selfishness situation are the reason why they might not.
But I've
do
always,
it. You know what I mean?
I've always said, birthday. It's your dad's birthday. You will say happy birthday. Oh yeah, I spoke to him.
I'm not even gonna remind you anyway because I don't know.
I do.
Why should I?
I remind her.
If you find that you have to consistently remind, especially when she's now an adult, then there's a problem there. And the child, it's like you're trying to force a relationship to have a relationship.
No,
that
I
she
don't.
doesn't want
I
to.
want to find out if she has, and I think for my own nosiness.
Have you done it?
Like,
I always think that
like,
this
has
is
he
where
changed?
the
It's just the year that he's
fathers.
changed.
I think that fathers don't realize the effect that they have on
On
their
their
children.
children, yeah.
They don't
Especially the
understand,
girl children.
especially the girl child, but especially the boy child, because every boy needs their father figure in their lives. So you're thinking to yourself that, especially African men tend to. They have got an excuse for not being there.
It's always
But they want to be
romantic.
called fathers. They want to go ever and go, I'm a father, I'm a father, But you've never seen a child in such a long time. And they're very good at popping in and popping out.
That's the toxic, isn't it? Because
That's
it's like
it.
you're confusing the
That's
child.
it.
So
they love
it's,
popping
yeah.
in and popping out.
That
They
doesn't
love
make sense to me because, like, what do you think you're doing to the child?
They
to
don't,
them,
don't
to
know.
them,
The
those
time
10
is
minutes that
normal.
they've spent, those 10 minutes in that 1 week, they're thinking, oh my God, I
This
see
is
my
why-
child all the time.
So this is why you see this is the difference between the Western world parenting and African parenting. If it's an English or Western person, they'll cut the parent off.
Yeah.
Simple as 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna say my dad or my mom is so toxic with my life, so I don't have anything to do with
Yeah.
them. But as in our culture,
We are constantly promoting.
You know what
but
I mean?
do you know why we promote in my culture?
Yeah.
It's because, do you know, if my dad was toxic and he was never there in my life, and my mom had decided, you know what, I'm going to cut him
still
off,
the father.
and then I decided to get married. Do you know my mother could not get me married without my father?
So this is the why I say again, our culture is the one. Even though at this point it's not even parenting, our culture is a toxic one in our life right now.
She comes in, and she's with the left hand.
Yeah, that one.
She greets you
With your left hand. You
What
are
are
not
you
going to say anything because Otis loves it.
Yeah,
I
well,
see your line.
My friend, see your life.
This is your line.
Yeah.
No, because
But I told you last time, didn't I?
Look.
I told you the last time that my son knows how I am, right? So we're going on holiday.
yeah,
He goes,
Yeah.
we're going together.
Even
He
that
went
part,
and- he
yeah.
went and picked her up with
Yeah.
my car. He went and picked her up. So she came sitting in the front. When they got to the house, because they were dropping me off somewhere, right? He told her, my guy, beg seat for
out.
you. No, they discussed this probably on their way to say, when we eat, there's no way, baby, you're riding in the front. So by this time I had this one on my case. Auntie, you can't be toxic. Hey.
yeah, I did.
So when I get in, I was like, I'm sitting at the back. The girl nearly died. Because there's me, I've jumped into the back seat. My son comes, sees me in the back seat. He's looking at her saying, but we had this discussion now. She's trying to go, no, but I'm like, it's okay. I could see the friction between them. But you know what I did? I went and said, no, don't worry, guys. It's okay. I'm so tired. I actually wanted to sleep at the back here. So you guys sit in the front. And they did. It was just that easy.
Exactly. So
but
because
one thing I say is that my son knows. So there's no way he's going to
discussed
let her come.
girl.
But then that's why I say you say it's okay because you are open-minded to accept that it's okay. Some parents
Would
are
be
not
like,
even.
no.
But at the end of the day, at front. Okay, let me give you an example. How can your mother sit at the car of the front? What about when you are driving, you want to touch the leg of? You know what I mean? Let's say it's a long journey. No, some drivers, some men drive. Even as a woman, when you drive, you get tired. You just want to chill.
In my culture, it's actually a no-no. The son-in-law is driving, the mother-in-law should not be in the front seat.
Yeah, but then some mother-in-law in this country, like example, what we're talking about, your situation here, you know it, and your
And I'm
son.
sitting with my son.
Yeah.
So are you upset because you, the daughter-in-law, is sitting at the back?
Exactly.
How long does
It's
it
my
take?
husband. Even if it takes 1 minute, it's my husband, our car. We bought the car.
Okay,
Go and find your own
but even
husband.
imagine that journey of 5 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How many times would your husband touch during those 5 minutes that you're
You never
missing?
know. You know
No.
some husbands
How
are very
mu-
obsessed.
But how you'd have been missing it?
Your own.
So much.
We are addicted. We are addicted.
That's why I said that some daughters-in-law as well just want to have a problem.
They like this
Sometimes you just have to let that mother-in-law sit in there and have a 5 minutes.
No, which is we do, but
Because
then
at the end of the day, you are going to take that husband
no,
back
which is we
for
do.
24
No,
hours,
which
and
is-
she's not even going to have him.
Which is I agree, which is that's what we all do because the culture said we should do that, we do that. But then when you go home and then you are female, oh, I couldn't imagine your mother is sitting in the car, and then now your son and the wife are fighting over sitting at at the back. So why can't I just say, listen, guys, me, I'm happy with the tobacco. Me.
But that is you now just taking it in, which brings us back to the fact that if your child father wasn't there and that child wants to get married, you're going, oh, hell no, I'm never going to contact the father.
Of course not. I would never do that, personally.
But now you've just said that you're quite happy just for the peace to sit in the back and chat.
Yeah, but not when I raise my child by myself. 29 years of my hard work. So if you are somewhere.
So if you've raised your child by yourself and then that child now has a girlfriend, that girlfriend can't sit in the front.
I don't have a problem with that, but I'm just saying, it's a personal choice, but some people make it compulsory. It has to be like. Oh.
But you are choosing which one is a valid
but
one.
Even Bible,
if you are going to back down to your mother-in-law and say, okay, just sit in the front, it's not a big deal. The same thing will happen even if whatever.
So my mother-in-law isn't my mother-in-law who raised his son. Isn't it me raising my daughter and then I say I don't want you to be in it? That is the different thing. 29 years of my life raising a child, and this my husband is my.
But you are also depriving your child from a father.
How? Because did I stop the father not to come 29 years?
So let's say the father comes after 29 years of you having raised her on her own. Will you deprive him?
Between the daughter or the son and the father to have the conversation. We're going to have a conversation before you even go out there. Okay, how do you feel? Do you want your dad to be there? She say, or he say no. If she say no, I'm not going to say because the culture says so, my child, oh please, the culture, even though you don't want it, but the culture said this and this and this and this. No. I am not going to put my child's happiness for the husband.
But the thing, this is where again I think that as an African parent, you are now not looking at the bigger picture. That decision you are now making for your child, for us, we believe that it will have consequences in the future. Because that is the blood.
But then
you have no right to be saying.
But is the father have a right to walk away from her life for 29 years? Exactly. No. So if he can walk away with no consequences,
but who are you making? Who in this scenario for me, I was thinking now, who are you now making suffer? Who is it that is going to suffer?
The man is suffering, because me and my child already have the conversation.
No.
But me and my child have that conversation.
If you marry your child, if your child gets married and you haven't told the father, this child ancestors are from the father's side.
Oh, we already pray about it. God, listen, God back to sender. Me and my child.
There's no sender here. Your child's blood, their ancestors are from your father's side.
So this is why.
So you find that if they are saying that our child was sold by Akosi or was married off by Akosi. So this is why
Africans, we forever gonna suffer because of that. Because we always think back like, why? This is why I say I like my principle, yeah? If you can turn your back on me and you don't feel guilty, you don't feel pain, so why is it that when I'm turning my back on you, I should feel the guilt of
you can turn your back on your ex-husband or your ex-boyfriend.
No, I'm talking about the child and the father
But your child, there's no way. Do you know what? Right? This is why I always say it's like, for example, when a child is born and you hate the father so much because he walked away, so you tell your child that your father is dead. That's
in itself. That's
what people do.
I won't go that far.
No, but what I'm saying is that's what people will do just to stop the father and the child from ever communicating.
But that
is terrible in itself, because that child at some point will find out that the father is alive and they'll hate you for life.
But that one is different. That is a different thing, because because you told the child is dead. The child knows.
Yet when we know he is alive,
no, but that
and then she's now getting married.
No, that is a lie. That is completely lie. That is different thing than me telling you.
Yeah, but then and yet the father is alive, and yet when the child is getting married, you want to marry that child off because the father wasn't there for 29 years.
Yeah, because I've been calling 29 years. The child is making effort. There are so many children making effort to say, look, I'll give up on my dad. And I said, don't give up. Sometimes I talk to these children. The reason why I'm saying this because it's experience. It's something that happening and people are going through that. But then, and the person will ask you like, but I'm the dad. Like example, our friends and the children situation, the eldest son, they're talking about, and I said, listen, he said that he went by, he said the adult in this situation, why me, the child, have to be them begging for him to be in my life? And I said, because maybe sometimes, adult doesn't know. Your child need to make effort. He said, how many effort would I make? I make so much effort. So at this point, I'm going to just stop.
But do you know what? It is not the child's responsibility to fix the relationship between them.
That
It's not, because the adult there is the parent.
Exactly.
Is the parent.
So now,
so the
if
one
it's
that
not,
has exited my life
Yeah.
needs to come to me, the child.
And-
No, and I think why it's a problem in the African culture is because it's almost like you are now making yourself smaller than the child. And the child, now you are now begging the child.
and we are accepting it.
But yeah, when
We are accepting it. That's
so
what
the
they're
thing
teaching
is,
us. Men
you
are
were
running
the
away
one-
from our children.
You were the one who was a part-time father,
Yeah.
and then now you want full-time father responsibilities. You are a part-time father, right? But you want the benefits of a full-time father.
Yeah, and
It's
then
not
to
fair.
even walk down the aisle. Where were
I
you?
think one thing that we're all forgetting.
Graduations, you want to be mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm glad you want to be mentioned. When I give child, you want to be mentioned.
Let me tell you something. Guys. I think that you are all trying to justify the fact that you are angry. We are all angry.
No. This is beyond anger.
We are all upset when a father walks away.
Let me finish here. I'm the one who watches my daughter go through life every day. Yeah, I deal with that. Whilst you come in and
With
pick,
another woman.
pick the occasions you want
To be part of it.
present in.
Exactly.
I don't get that luxury. I don't get that luxury, right? I have to go through it
Whether
all,
I want it or
whether
not.
I want to or not. So if I am like the key point here, of course, he's saying we've had the discussion. Me and my child, we've had. It's not like I'm making the toxicity comes in where I have made the decision
For them, both of
my
them.
child based on my anger with her father. You understand what I'm saying? But if me and my child have discussed and we've spoken about it and we've said, she said to me, "Mom,
I
you
don't
know
want
what?
this."
Allow this man. You know, I am respecting my child's wishes.
I don't have to say because my culture.
If I have said,
If
if my daughter comes back and says, "Mom, remember what I said to you. Look, he's still inconsistent. He's still a douchebag. He's still even now wanting me to look after him and all these other things."
Okay.
Do you know what?
Okay, what about?
Do you know, I think that this, for me, I think
it's
that
about knowing your child.
Yeah, and knowing your child on yourself.
But you know what, right, Sharon? You were brought up as by a single parent, okay? If I was to ask you when you were 15 that when you get married, would your dad walk you down the aisle? What would you say?
No.
Yeah. I ask you now, you're 40 something. If you get married, would your dad walk you down your aisle? What would you say?
No.
Okay, that's you. I'm not going to even ask you why you say that. Me and Sharon, we got the same dad, right? And we were both brought up by a single parent. 15 years or when I was 15 or whatever, if you'd asked me that I got married, would my dad walk me down the aisle? I'd have said no. Today, I will tell you that my father will walk me down the aisle.
That's a personal choice because you bring make a relationship.
Why would you tell him?
No, because because right now, 15 years later or 20 years down the line, you and your father build up relationship. It's a different.
Yes.
Imagine 20 years later up to today, you don't have
Nothing.
contact, no relationship, nothing, and then you gonna say, "I want my dad." Then you are angels sent from heaven. This one I cannot deny because for me personally, hell no.
I mean, I would think that. For
I don't
example,
care about the culture,
if my
no
middle
culture.
child was a girl. And they were getting married.
Even a boy.
I wouldn't even be able to contact the father because I really don't know where he is. So then I would that would be a totally different situation. But the fact that where I know where the father is, I'll give an example of my first child. I was married to them traditionally. My son has got the father's surname. When my son was, I raised my son from 7 years old from here, all by myself. Not one p, not even one penny. But when my son was ill, the first we had to make a phone call. We had to process papers for them to get a visa to come over. But to be honest with you, the anger I had, did I want him to come? No. But for the sake of my son,
I wouldn't.
Wow.
I wouldn't.
But do you know that if that child was to die in your hands, they could tell you that we don't want that.
I will tell
body.
them to fuck off. I will bury the child myself. Sorry to use this language. I will tell him and his family to do one. Because if you want to be there in the body, you could have, do you know how to say, if you call me daily basis, if you call your child and check on your child monthly basis or weekly basis, you would have known what happened to the
I'm going to tell
child.
you something else. I'm going to tell you something else that we have in my culture, right? In my culture, we believe that, so if you are I don't even know. Okay. So we've got Mombeya Umai, which is the cow that. So if I have a child, it's a mother's cow. A mother has to be given a cow by the person that made you pregnant. So for example, when I am pregnant, so I was pregnant with Richard, right? Richard's dad has to give my mother a cow.
Yeah.
That cow is purely to say, Mom, to my mom, they have to give her, say, thank you for giving birth to Rudo.
Amen.
So that now we have now got who? We've now got Richard, the grandson.
Yeah.
So that cow, and that cow is supposed to go, whether you are married, whether you are a hit and run, a one-night stand, that cow has to go to your mother. Do you understand?
And I will eat it.
Now if, you the mother?
Yeah,
because you've got it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mine, yeah.
But the sense in why the mother has this cow, we understand the importance of it.
Yeah.
But now if I'm thinking, your father is a deadbeat one, so that cow don't bother, don't take it. Who's good? What good am I doing? There are consequences when this cow doesn't go.
Your mindset can be manipulated like that. Her mindset is, you can't do that to me.
Not me, bitch.
You can't do that. Whether you are my mother or not. Even if I have to go through this life without a mother, I am going to
Amen, preach, girl.
That's what she said.
That's me.
For me, that's like, whoa. Okay? Do you know what I mean? I will.
So is your mindset manipulated?
No, I'm in the middle.
Of
I'm
both of us.
Switzerland. Because sometimes it can be, fuck you, babe.
But we all think it.
And then, no.
We all think it when your parents say something toxic, we are going on for God's sake. She's done it again.
I can say it sometimes, right? And then stand on 10 toes and be like, I said bitch! I said bitch!
You won't be telling her though, that's for sure. You whisper bitch. I said bitch. I said, Baba, you're a bitch. But deep down, but of course, I said, Baba, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
You say, yes. So, but why do you whisper? But my question is, so why are you whispering? Baba, you're a bitch. Listen. Why are you doing that?
Of course, he will cut the phone off and then the mom will call. But I said, you want me to say it again? You want me to say it?
But okay, answer my question. Why are you whispering, Mama?
Because
why are you Switzerland? Why are you Switzerland though?
No, because
you know what the effects are.
No,
because he doesn't have that confidence to stood up.
I've got 50% of that confidence.
To stood up
I have 50% of it. Yeah. Sometimes it works. Then I sit there and I think, oh shit. When the council tax bill comes, oh, there she goes.
Mama, I need help. Mommy,
there she goes.
I think I'm not even afraid of the fact that the council tax bill will come and I don't have anyone to borrow money. To be honest, I can guava and I'll find somebody to borrow from, even if it means not asking mom, the bank of mom. You understand? I can do that. For me, it's because I know what a struggle is. A struggle where you are fighting a force that you cannot explain. But because you don't believe that can, if you don't even believe that you can be cursed, you're never going to feel that. You never know. Yeah,
and nobody can curse me. Only God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even my mother who birthed me cannot curse me because.
That's not true.
No, let me tell you why. Let me tell you.
That's what she believes.
Her life is evident. It's testimony.
Because
that her mother can't.
Yes.
Because she knows her mama loves her.
No, but your mama doesn't love you.
Mama said
Mama said shit to me.
Yeah,
she said you will suffer.
She's called her.
Yeah, she did. He did.
4 children married.
With married, happy married. Yeah. And that case is not following me because I don't believe in it.
There you go.
Because it's your mindset, isn't it?
People who believe it, that's what is happening.
Yes, because you sitting and doubt
yourself.
You
can manifest something.
Because you are doubting yourself.
No.
You are doubting. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
I don't think that in life you get to an age of 47 and you're thinking, you know what? No.
Let me tell you something. Wait, let me tell you this. Yeah. She's what? No. She said it out loud, but she looked good. Let me say this out loud. Yeah. When this thing started, our podcast started, and then I posted it to a lot of people, and one of the girls, she said, oh wow, well done, of course, I've been thinking about all this year, but I didn't know how to start it, but now you did this, give me courage and motivation to do, and I said, why not, go for it. So in a conversation, we're just having a conversation, and I said, what is stopping you not to do it at the first place? Because this person, as we talk, is very high educated, yeah? Like she's an engineer, Exactly. So to me, I look at it like, you are talented, you are brave, you are.
You should have started
You
this
know what
longer.
is stopping you? So we're having a conversation, and she was like, so she asked me, what is your relationship with your mom? So I will explain, we're talking. And then she said, you see, maybe that's why you have that courage to do it, because it all depends on the relationship you have with your mother. And then she started talking, my mom never give me that confidence. Let's say if I'm doing something, your mom always gonna tell you, you're not gonna do it, you fail. Nobody will gonna support you, you never succeed in life, you fail. So for her to get up to doing it, all she's thinking, the mom said you're gonna fail. What the mom says she's gonna fail. So that is affecting her. That's her personality. My mom said I'm never gonna get married. Isn't I married? Even my husband can leave me now and I'll find another man to marry me. Because I'm not gonna sit down and say, because my mom said you never get married. No man wants you, right?
Because she's also human. I think in our culture, the power we give to our
Parents.
ancestors, parents, and our elders is even
Toxic.
Even if they are so flawed, like like you could have a drunken parent tell you are not going to amount to anything, and you're thinking, dude,
You know, do not. What you can
you're
say?
an alcoholic.
Yes.
Right? So why are you telling me I'm not going to amount to anything?
I think
how can you speak those words into my life? I think
It's
sometimes
a mindset, toxic.
I
It's a toxic, but we're allowing it.
yeah.
It's a toxic relationship with our parents. All three of us sitting here, we all have toxic relationship with our parents. I'm not gonna say my mom is angel. I love my dad. My mom, yeah. I start loving my mom. If I'm honest with myself and my God, I start loving my mom when I gave birth to my daughter.
Which one?
The first one. Because in the hospital bed, the first person I call out is mom. So when my Nunu opened, and I'm thinking, wow, is it how hard it is for a mother to go through? And I never show my mom respect. Not because I don't respect my mom. Like that, we're talking about the toxicity. So I don't feel like I was loved by my mom. That's how I feel personally. But then I didn't let it affect me not to love myself. If she doesn't love me, doesn't mean I shouldn't love myself. And again, it's not everybody who have that confidence. We're all different. But then I chose not to let it to bring me down. Because if I let it bring me down, then I'm going to carry on giving it to my children. It become a generational curse, toxicity. And I'm breaking for my children not to get that. Because somebody have to break it. And I'm not gonna let my children to break it. I have to be strong enough to break it.
To say the same thing
over and over. It's like a runabout.
My grandmother said to my mother,
right?
Like for my mother for me to now say the same thing.
To my
I never felt like my mom.
What I'm saying is that if when you are raising children, you look at the way you were raised. You look at the good and the bad of it. You only take the good and make sure you pass that to your children. Any negativity, you make sure that you're trying as hard as you can not to raise your children in that bad way that you were raised. But what I am saying in the sense that where we say that I'm not going to do this because whatever my reasons are, if you think about it, your culture as well has got to make you do certain things that you don't want to. For example, we've got black tax, okay?
We'll come back to the next topic.
You find that when we all first came here, we were sending money back and forth. But at some point, we got to a point where we realized that, you know what, I keep passing KFC. This is the second week I've even eaten KFC, and I've sent the money back home. And yet at the home, they're already going for God every Friday and Saturday. You learn certain things as you go along. But at the end of the day, that's the way you were brought up. That's your initial way of dealing with life. You then grow the same way. You like how you would send money.
No, example.
If someone was to say to you, I don't have money at home, you would go and give them money.
Let me give you an example about that one. And again, we said we'll come back to talk about it because it's something we need to address it to a lot of people out there. And because for me, like I said, generational curse, you have to stop it, or else nobody will come. Your ancestors won't come and stop it for you. Even in the Bible, I said this, but a Bible is there to direct. It's like a guide us through life. You can't just say you're gonna do everything what Bible told you, because my friend, then we shouldn't have enemies in this world. But it's a guiding book. So our life is a guiding. Our parents are exactly. I cannot take everything my mom says, so I have to take it. I take it. Like I said, we take the good. So like this black tax we're talking about, I stopped because when I first came here, I will never forget this. My first job, I earned £200. At this point, it's not even me that asked for the money. My elder sister, she didn't have it. She's worried. Oh, blah, 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 don't have money. And I went, because I feel sorry for her at this point. I said, oh, you can use my money and send it. Fine, go. The person said she wants to use it to do business. Did the business work? No. Now, I learned a lesson from my sister's experience. So, will the person come to me and say, oh my God, I want to do business? No, I'm going to look back and say, but do. Your sister gave you 200, but it didn't work.
But that's what I'm saying is that we all learned.
But
initially you gave it though. But it's not like you just decided without even any experiences.
But how long?
You didn't just say, oh, you know what, black tax is just a myth. I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to do it. You had to do it first.
No, but you did it from
the difference is that it takes longer for others. It's the same way as someone who's being beaten up in their home. Some people are in a battered relationship for 15 years. Some people are beaten once and they're out. Do you understand?
It's a choice they make.
Exactly. So it's not even a
choice.
Don't blame it's not a choice that you make. It depends how it is indoctrinated in you.
That's a choice.
No, it's not.
It's a choice.
But what I'm saying,
do you think
to leave when
it's a choice.
Like, you know, everybody has got a choice to leave or to stay in a toxic relationship. The amount of length of time it takes you to leave.
It's a choice you are making.
I didn't choose. Don't tell me that there's someone who chooses that I want to leave this relationship after 15 years of being beaten every day.
It's a choice, though.
Yeah, but
it's a choice. It's a choice you have to make for yourself.
You choose to stay.
You choose to leave.
For whatever reason.
Whatever is toxic, whether it's love, whether
it's the children.
When you're saying it's a choice, it's as if you're saying, well, you decided to stay for 10 years.
Yes.
I decided to stay for 1.
Yes.
And therefore, you that's your problem.
But yes, it's your problem.
But do you think that when they were there for 15 years, they didn't have some rationale to it?
But then you should have made that.
That's not the
My point is the fact that you are all going, the fact that you can decide that you want to stop paying back tax after 2 months or one incident, and you then decide to stop after 2 incidents, then your problem, you're the fool because you took 2 chances.
Yes, that's your fool, not my fool, because they didn't force you to begin with. But
then at the end of the day, it's like for you to have been paying the black tax in the beginning, whatever my reasoning is to pay back tax, for you it might not be the same as mine. Because maybe I held on longer because maybe my parent was a single parent that I was supporting. But you knew that yours could have help from somebody else.
I knew my mom couldn't have help from nobody but
your reasons and my reasons will be different.
100%.
And hence why for me it took me longer to learn.
So that's a choice I chose
to do it
that way.
Because your circumstances would have been different.
The same circumstances, because your mom is a single mama suffering, looking for money to buy.
It wasn't my black tax wasn't even my mom. I didn't have to send my mom money.
So you see, so for
it
me,
was my grandmother.
So even yours is you took a long of choice not to do it. Why would I be sending money to my grandmother?
Because my grandmother raised me. Because my grandmother is the one that raised me.
I give you example. We'll come back, or we can. Then you can actually pause and we'll start it and we'll do it another day if we wish to. And then because we'll come back to this, generational wealth. Yeah, we're talking about generational wealth and black privilege, white privilege. Yeah,
we're going into another topic.
No, because it's just a quick one. We'll come back to it because it's like the way she's talking about a choice, and I'm saying. So we say because somebody was saying about white privilege, white people have privilege, and I say yes, white people have privilege. That we can't deny. So it's black people. Me, I'm a black privilege. My children have black privilege. The person went, ooh. What do you mean your children have black privilege? Yeah. So the person went, what is black? Why do you think your children have black privilege? And I said, my children have black privilege because the way I live my life as a poverty life. You have to just have the basic food to eat. And for you, that's it. But my children, they have more than basic. They have everything their white privileged friends have. And they have it and beyond having it more than some of their white privilege. So to me, it's a black privilege. Because for my children to have that, it's a privilege.
And they're black.
So it's a choice I make for my children. Say, listen, I didn't have a privilege. So I want my children to have a privilege because they have white friends. They live in
doesn't every parent want that?
But then what are you doing to change that?
White privilege.
White privilege is not about providing your children.
No. Listen, white privilege is the fact that, say, for example, now in America, if a white child was to walk into a store, they're not followed around the store.
By
A black
security
child walks into a store,
They are followed
they are
around.
followed around.
Yes.
because
So
they
that's
think
where
they-
the white
Okay.
privilege
So
is.
Yeah.
that's white privilege.
Okay, let me give you an
So
example.
if right now, if
but-
I go and want to make a complaint as a black person, I'm deemed as an aggressive person.
Let me give you an example.
A white person, a Karen,
not.
who makes a complaint that there's a bunch of black people,
The
police will
police
come out
come out
quicker.
with
Yes,
That's
I get-
white privilege.
Let me
What
example.
you were talking about,
Financially.
providing.
Financially.
yes,
Yeah, but
But
that's
again-
not black
but
or
then-
white.
but-
provision. You're talking about provision.
But again,
from a standpoint of that your
You're a black
child
person.
was
Yeah.
that you had, you didn't want to
Again,
save for your children.
again.
There are several
Again,
and thousands.
yes.
There are thousands of black people who provide more than
the white,
more,
yeah,
not even
English,
white,
yeah.
more than they were provided
Yeah.
with
But
when
yeah.
they were younger.
That's what every parent
that's
does.
Every parent
Okay,
does.
let me say what you said that about walking into a shop. Yes, a white person, and an example, I was talking to I have the mixed boy and then a black one were talking about something, and one girl said, "Oh, have police said to the neighbor to keep eye on this boy because the police are looking for him." And I said, and the police actually came to the house, and I said, yes. One, because he's black, that's what in our head we think, right? But again, you didn't know what the boy did before the police eyes on him. Maybe they saw him somewhere on the corner doing dodgy dealing, or nobody know, but then they're not
If
sure.
there's a police
No, no, no,
alert out for you, that means that they know who you are and you have done something wrong.
yes, I get that again, because but in her head she thinks it's black. And I'm raising my black children, say to them, listen, yes, we are living in a white people's country. However, I will have to teach you. Yeah, you can teach your children, but then going outside and make, that's a choice they're making. But if you go and make the choice, you go to the shop. Let's say example, they go to supermarket. And then you just be in your humble, walking around, doing your daily shopping. The security guard is watching you because you're black, watching. You go and do your shop gently. Do what you do, pay for it. And then they call police because, oh, you look at the black boy. Yeah. They come, they search you, they didn't find anything. Yeah, what did they do? They will let you go. I know it's unfair for them to do that. But then sometimes, if they come and then they find something on you and then they arrest you, we give them a reason for that. So if the first time they come,
Who gave them the reason?
no, then I give them as a black
What
person.
reason did you give
No,
them?
but because if he takes something,
But just
But they
being
didn't. So,
no. I'm talking about
you-
going to the shop.
You've gone into the shop.
Yeah.
They followed you.
Yeah.
You've paid and you've gone
Right,
out.
yeah.
But then this time they followed you and they're saying that they found something on you.
Right.
So, but the point is that the point is that you find that if you go in the shop, they don't know whether you've got money in your pocket or you want to steal.
Exactly,
You understand?
right.
But automatically, who is the alert going to be on, the white boy or the black child?
Well, if
The black
it
child.
is a black.
It will be the black one.
Yeah.
So that's where the white privilege is. That a white person doesn't have to worry about who's watching.
They
it.
do.
Not every.
No.
No, like I'll give you an example. I went to co-op yesterday.
Because those boys know what they do.
Exactly.
No,
So black boys, most
But
of them.
no, but that's the difference. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to say that a naughty white child knows that when they go into the co-op, they're barred in there. So if they go in there, the police are likely to be called. A black person, you don't even need it. You go
I went
in
there, they
and-
didn't call police for me.
because
I'm a black person.
Yes, but-
they didn't call police for me.
but you know the thing is, you got black children. The thing is that
Otis was going there on
you'll be targeted for things where they will
But then
literally
don't give them
target you.
reason though.
You're not giving.
And then if they
their
come-
reason is because you're black
And then they
you're
come,
a black boy.
and then they come and they didn't find anything on you.
It doesn't
They will
matter.
let you go.
But you see
But
what
that's
I'm
what
saying
we're
is that
talking
that's
about,
what
the
we're talking about.
privilege.
It doesn't.
But then we have to change it though. We
How
have
do
to,
you change it?
to teach them.
How-
Yeah.
Your son walks into a shop. They automatically think your son is a threat.
Right.
How do you change it?
Because and then they call police, right?
No, but they
No,
might not
that's not-
even. They might not even.
How
call the
do we
police.
change the perception?
How do we change the
How
fact
do
that
I
they've
change
seen a black person walk in
Oh.
and now they're thinking
Oh.
alert.
Oh.
Or Akosi is talking and shouting,
Yeah,
they call you
yeah,
aggressive.
Yeah.
How
They
do you change
no,
that?
let me tell you how we change it. Exactly, good point you just make there. Let me tell you how we change it. Example, I went to the supermarket driving 2 lane. You signal you go in this lane and I'm going my lane because you still then and I overtake you to go my lane. You shouting at me. I went, fuck you. She went, why are you shouting? I said, did I ask you not to shout? I'm shouting. You tell me, you talk to me gently. Did I tell you not to shout? You see, because I didn't say black word, but did I tell you not to shout? You want to be calm, let me shout. You have a voice to shout. I shut her down. She gone, I'm gone. This is how I deal with my situation. Because I'm black, you can't come attack me. Because if do you know when to do aggressive me? I will show you. Because right now I just shout at you.
That's what we always say. Is that if you have a reason to be angry, you can be angry and you can shout.
Oh, me, I can shout.
But black people, we are all judged.
Oh, and then I will judge you.
But then the thing is that what we are saying is that it's not that we want to have to try and say to you, oh no, I'm not trying to.
Thank you very much for watching, and we appreciate it. Some of you are doing well. You are commenting, you are sharing. But you know what? Some are not sharing, no. Some are not even subscribing. Please, watch, watch us. We are begging. Then at this point, we are begging. Thank you. And a toxic relationship. If anybody who kind of like find it very useful, let us know. And then tell us if you want something to talk about, us to talk about. Let us know. Send a message, and we're gonna talk about it next time. Thank you for watching. One love. Peace. Mwah.
Bye.